Hello guys, and welcome to part 3 of my GoldenEye 20th Anniversary Soundtrack podcast. In the last 2 episodes, we discussed a little bit the music, the soundtrack, the original soundtrack of GoldenEye provided by Eric Serra, my rescore attempts. I shared some thoughts and some background information, and we went all the way up to the part where James Bond flees with the plane, where he can escape with the plane and the Arkhangelsk warfare facility blows up. Now, the next part evidently would be the GoldenEye main title sequence with the great song sung by Tina Turner, an absolutely amazing song, and a song that actually, just that little riff with the pizzicato and bass, with this blum 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 blum, which I really love, which is so GoldenEye, when you go dum 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 dum, it's GoldenEye. That's a perfect thing to do, and that's why I always implemented it every now and then in the soundtrack itself, in my rescore soundtrack. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the next scene after the main title scene. Actually, there is the segment with the car chase, and that is a special bit because it's one I have not rescored. And I've talked about this. This soundtrack is now 2 years old, and still now I do not regret that I have not rescored this bit. Let me first share my thoughts on the original soundtrack that Eric Serra made there. It's that, fancy kind of funk music that goes along. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of that tune. But apart from that, I'm not very fond of it. I keep wrecking my brains just trying to think about what kind of music would fit there. If I compare it to old James Bond movies, when you have car chases, usually, for example, one that instantly springs to mind is the car chase with the German police in Octopussy. There's no music at all. So there's no kind of reference to it, what you could do or what is appropriate or what could work. And still nowadays, thinking in all styles, be it John Barry, David Arnold, whatever, I couldn't come up with one single idea how that car chase could be scored. I even did some little tests, with a tune and tried around a bit, and I was not remotely satisfied with it. And so I said, you know what, I'm just going to leave that. That's the decision I'm going to make now, and I will stand behind it. I will do it the way I think it is best now, and that's why I have not rescored that car chase. But then the next part of the movie is the beautiful shot of the whole city, and then you can see Bond driving in his classic Aston Martin DB5, and that's why I went for a very, classic approach on the James Bond theme, very suave, sophisticated, and I think that's quite a good one. Unfortunately, the technology I used back there did not allow me to do fancy stuff with the brass, unlike what I can do nowadays with the breath controller and the corresponding software. But yeah, I think it still does the trick for that scene. And then Pierce Brosnan just makes a great appearance, looking great, looking dapper, goes into that casino. He fits in there like a glove. And then the next part of the soundtrack would be the one where he quits the casino, where he follows Famke Janssen, Xenia on a top, having an overview at the Ferrari where the Admiral and Xenia, get out, and where they're about to go to the boat. And that whole track is called Thorough Observation. Little James Bond chords, James Bond notes, but yet very subtle, just underlining, with a little bit of the Eric Serra instruments, some of the bass lines and stuff like that. And then he goes back to the car, and you can hear the bass in the background that does little references to what Eric Serra has done, because that is something you can hear in the soundtrack as well, as that little bass line, da 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 da. And I even went further. Then as he gets in the Aston Martin, prints out the intel that he gathered receiving a transmission from Moneypenny, I did a little bit of string work, with James Bond theme. I was not sure to leave it silent there, to have no music, but I thought it was, I just tried it, I went for it, and I liked the results. And also at the end, when she gets to the point, when the transmission is over, you get the bass line in the background. And I just love that part. It's so perfect. When Moneypenny goes like and transmission, and then there's the bass line, da 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 da, and Pierce Brosnan has that smirk on his face. I mean, that's one of my most favorite moments when it comes to the rescore. Yeah, and then we're going to look at another scene. It's the scene on the yacht Manticore. First of all, Admiral gets treatment from Xenia with her famous legs, saying that he can't breathe, and then he dies. And there did a little bit of, well, if you would be a nasty person, you could say that's a pure 80s kind of, almost Beverly Hills Cop kind of synthesizer music, because there's a lot of those synthesizer pads that play some minor chords with some weird notes in there, but I think it does the trick pretty well, because that is also a little bit of the vibe that GoldenEye has to it, I think. Because that's just how I score movies, be it a James Bond rescore, or if it's for a real movie, for an actual movie that I get to work on, do the soundtrack for. I look at the picture, I look at the atmosphere, I look at the mood, and that just creates the music automatically for me. I just like to have fun with it, and that's how I come up with the ideas. And GoldenEye is such a perfect example, because I don't want to sound, like arrogant or something, but I think, judging by what people have told me over the years about good ideas for soundtrack and how they like certain stuff I did, be it something related to Bond or not, I think my music mostly is something that people can connect to, and I can give you the intel on why that is. I think when I get a project, when I get to rescore a James Bond movie, when I do it myself, when I get to score a movie, when I get to score a game or whatever, I'm such a big dreamer, and I'm such a crazy guy. I really like to set myself into that world and be part of that world. GoldenEye has always been a second life to me ever since I was 12, 13. And that's why it is so easy. And when I look at the scene, I don't even have to look at the scene, because I know how they look, how they are. And that's really how I come up with the ideas, because I like to really sit in that world, see everything. I mean, here in Valais, where I live, there's a lot of snow in winter. Well, this winter's a bad example, but and I would, sometimes I remember when I was younger, 16, 17, I would just, go out, walk around, mountain regions with snow and a lot of mist, in the air, and then I would play GoldenEye music from Eric Serra. Walk around thinking like, this is a warfare facility, this is some kind of base, they're the bad guys, will come out any second, and I just like to live in those worlds. And because I'm part of that world, I get the ideas, how it sounds. Okay? So we're going to proceed in the scene. So Xenia finally kills him off, and James Bond sneaks onto the yacht Manticore. And what I did there, then James Bond comes onto the yacht. Very subtle music, just with some effects and a synthesizer pad that lays, some chords in the background. And then he's observing, looking at the marina. Then the guy comes. Yeah, the intense fight. With the orchestral, rips and flares and stuff like that, brass strings, I tried to just underline what is going on, a little hastier. But I have to admit, I stole a little bit from Eric Serra's principal idea, with the drum rolls and the drum hits and that kind of stuff. That's what he did in the original movie. And I took a little bit of that idea, because I think that's pretty cool what he's done there as well. And then after you first see the Tiger helicopter and you get to see the people on the frigate, it goes back to James Bond going through the yacht. There again you have that sneaky, slightly tenseful music. And then as he opens the locker and Admiral Forel falls out, bam! James Bond music. Because he goes from the yacht to the little speedboats. And I just thought that's also a cool little James Bond moment. He's, he gets the hang of it. He starts to realize there's something going wrong. There's the Admiral dead in the closet. And, and then he goes back, obviously having something in the back of his head, trying to do something. And that's why I went for a little James Bond action cue there. Okay, that's it for this episode. I hope you liked it again. Please make sure to leave some comments if you liked it or not. And I see you in the next episode, where we're going to talk a little bit about the cues where the Tiger helicopter takes off, and a little bit about the music in Severnaya. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.